Good evening, I'm Ava. Tonight, our top story focuses on Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's young superstar whose dazzling rookie season has been interrupted by injury. Concerns have been mounting, and this week her head coach offered a sobering update that leaves many fans wondering whether Clark will return to the court at all this season. Caitlin Clark has been sidelined with a groin injury, and while the team initially framed her absence as day-to-day, the latest updates suggest that the recovery process is moving far slower than anyone had hoped. Following a recent practice session, Fever head coach Stephanie White addressed questions about Clark's progress, admitting that the situation remains unchanged. White said that it's status quo and that there has been no significant movement toward a return to team activities. That comment alone sent a ripple of concern throughout the WNBA community because it implies that Clark is not yet close to practicing again, much less returning to game action. Her injury has come at a crucial time. Clark's arrival in the league brought unprecedented attention, record television ratings, and sold-out arenas across the country. She quickly became the face of not only the Indiana Fever, but also the WNBA itself, with her deep shooting range, flashy passing, and competitive spirit energizing fans and drawing comparisons to some of basketball's biggest stars. Her absence, therefore, is not only a setback for her team, but a blow to the league as a whole. Analysts have weighed in with their own assessments. Former WNBA player and current broadcaster Rachel DeMita suggested on her podcast that Clark may not return this season at all. While that prediction is speculative, it highlights the growing unease surrounding her health. The idea that the league's most marketable rookie could be sidelined for the remainder of the year is something both fans and the league office desperately hope to avoid, but it is a possibility that now looms large. Another voice that has added context is Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham, who is herself out for the season with a serious knee injury. Cunningham stated candidly that nobody really knows when Clark will be back, not even Clark herself. That perspective reflects the uncertain and often frustrating nature of recovery. Every athlete responds differently, and predicting a return date is more complicated than simply checking boxes on a medical chart. Coach White, however, has been consistent in her message. The priority is Clark's long-term health. She emphasized that while every competitor wants to play, the organization is committed to ensuring that Clark does not return until she is truly ready. White underscored that her future is far more important than rushing back for a few extra games this season. That stance has been praised by many around the league, though it remains difficult for Fever fans who are eager to see their young star back on the floor. The Fever season has been battered by injuries beyond Clark. Sophie Cunningham's knee injury left a void in the rotation, and additional absences in the backcourt forced the team to scramble for depth. At one point, the Fever signed veteran guard Shea Petty on a hardship contract and even brought in Kyra Lambert for short-term coverage. The roster has been tested in ways few anticipated, making Clark's absence all the more glaring. Yet, even amid adversity, the Fever have shown flashes of resilience. In one of their most dramatic wins of the season, the team stormed back from a 21-point deficit against the Connecticut Sun, ultimately winning 99-93 in overtime. That victory, achieved without Clark on the court, demonstrated the depth and determination that still exists within the roster. It also showed that while Clark is irreplaceable, the Fever are not entirely helpless without her. Still, the numbers make clear just how important Clark has been. Before her injury, she was averaging over 16 points per game while also dishing out nearly 9 assists. Her rebounding and defensive instincts added further value, and her perimeter shooting gave Indiana an offensive weapon that opponents had to plan around every night. Taking that production out of the lineup has left the Fever scrambling to retool their strategy on both ends of the floor. Off the court, Clark's absence is perhaps even more noticeable. She has become the WNBA's most marketable star almost overnight, with jersey sales, endorsement deals, and highlight reels turning her into a household name. Her selection as an all-star captain earlier this season underscored her influence, and the league has leaned heavily on her presence to drive new interest. Without her on the court, the WNBA loses a central figure who has drawn record crowds and shifted national attention toward the women's game. From a fan perspective, the uncertainty is frustrating. Supporters want updates, and they want clarity about when they can expect to see her play again. But the reality, as Cunningham explained, is that no one truly knows. Recovery is not a straight line. Some days may bring progress, while others may bring setbacks. And with a player as important as Clark, the Fever are choosing caution over speed. Reports from league insiders suggest that Clark could be sidelined for at least another month. That would push her potential return deep into the regular season, if she returns at all. For a team that entered the year with playoff ambitions, the timeline is far from ideal. Yet the Fever seem determined not to mortgage their future for the sake of short-term success. As speculation grows, so too does the conversation about what Clark's absence means for the WNBA's growth. Her debut sparked headlines across the sports world, elevating coverage of the league to unprecedented levels. Television ratings climbed, merchandise sales spiked, and arenas filled to capacity. Now, the league must find ways to sustain that momentum even as its brightest new star is forced to sit. Other players have stepped into the spotlight, but few can match the unique draw that Clark brings. Looking ahead, the Fever face difficult weeks. Without their centerpiece, they must rely on depth, role players, and collective effort to remain competitive. Coach White has praised the team's resilience, but she has also been realistic about the challenges. The team's ability to stay in playoff contention may hinge on whether Clark can return before the season closes, and whether she can do so at full strength. For Caitlin Clark herself, the journey is about patience, healing, and perspective. At just 23 years old, she has her entire career ahead of her. One season, however promising, is not worth jeopardizing that future. The lesson of so many athletes before her is that returning too soon can cause more harm than good. By waiting, by following medical advice, and by allowing herself to fully recover, Clark is giving herself the best chance to shine for years to come. So tonight, the update is concerning. The timeline remains unclear. The team is bracing for the possibility that their rookie phenom may not return this season. Yet within that uncertainty lies a note of optimism that when Caitlin Clark does step back onto the court, it will be because she is ready, healthy, and prepared to continue the journey that has already changed the WNBA forever. This is Ava, reporting for WNBA Trending.